morning. And we've got Christopher Fogel in with us.
What's going on?
Not much. What about you?
Oh, man, it is October. It's almost Halloween.
Can you believe it? What's your costume this year?
I'm not really sure. Well, the girls are going to be lions.
Oh.
So I talked about getting the hats that are the animal heads, getting a tiger, a tiger and a bear, so then we could be lions, tigers, and bear.
I love that idea.
Yeah, simple, straightforward. So how about you?
I'm trying to choose.
What's the options, or is that your way of saying you don't know yet?
Well, I have some great Halloween wear. Because we're going to be are you going to be at the event on Saturday?
We are, yeah, because I actually thought about that on my way in, and I was like, I'm going to have to get a costume for Saturday or something. I mean, I have a pickle costume in my office if I have to pull that out of storage, so.
You could do it.
Yeah.
We do have, now that you say that, we have a duck and we have a hippo. I've got some options here. But I have some Halloween wear that I kind of like too. That's just festive.
Were you a big Halloween costume person? See, I wasn't ever really big into it.
We did some trick or treating, but living out in the middle of nowhere, it was not like the.
Yeah, I have some friends that go
all out.
They go hard in the paint. I have one friend specifically that lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and it's pretty intense. She'll post pictures. One year she went as I just lost his name, lead singer of Queen.
Oh.
Anyway, it'll come to me here in a second, and it was very on point. Where I was like, wow, that is makeup, wig, the whole. It was.
I don't think I have those capabilities.
I don't have the patience for it.
Yeah.
For that short period of time, anyway. I'm the long game player.
Now, I will say we were at the Halloween costume store last week with my nephew, and they had a cow head, and this was the most advanced I've seen. It full on cow head, and when he would open his mouth, the jaw would move, so it looked like the cow was
like an articulating mask. Yeah.
Yes, it was a little pricey for my liking, but I thought if I needed to have a costume, that would have been the one. That would have been it.
That would be, yeah. It's to think about what costumes were. You see pictures from.
I accused my mom of trying to
day.
suffocate me when I was a kid from the plastic.
I had a few of those as well, where it was a colored trash bag basically, and then
Yes.
some plastic masks that would dig into your eyes.
And it had the little things always got in your hair. They stapled them on. Yeah.
Yes, that was.
They're lucky we're even still here after that.
That's true. You know what? We just talked to. Where were we at? Talking about pumpkins. At a meeting, because we were talking about. Somebody said something about. I wonder what the first pumpkin was or whatever. So. Obviously, me being a nerd, I was like, oh, well, they used to do that in, Ireland with Stingy Jack, and he was he'd go around and play tricks on people, and they would carve either a turnip or some sort of root vegetable, and that's kind of the first jack-o'-lantern, and they were all like, wow, that's really odd that you would know that, and I was like, whoa,
We would never doubt that you would know that around here.
Nope, so that was, so we had a good discussion about that, and they were like, that's actually really interesting, and I was like, yeah, well, I said, prompted you guys and threw you guys some hype because I was like, well, we always take a fun fact to the radio show, and I was like, that was one of them last year, I think, that we talked about. So it's always fun to learn.
It is fun to learn.
It is.
And it's fun when you can pull out those little facts that people don't know, and they're like, whoa. Yeah.
Well, whoa followed normally by why is that something that you know?
Why is that random thought in your head?
It's I don't know. I know all the random stuff, but then you ask me anything about actually adult life, and I have no idea typically. So
I feel like we should get you on Jeopardy.
Oh, that was and still kind of is a goal. Yeah. I
think we need to do
Jeopardy.
This.
Yes, I would do that.
As a community, get you on Jeopardy.
Let's do it. That's pressure. That's pressure because I would probably get on there and absolutely spiral and crash.
You'd overthink it. You'd go crazy.
Or it would be one. I don't see. That's one of those. It's always subjective because some episodes, I'm like, well, these are all really easy, and others, I'm like, what?
Who would know that, right?
Yeah, but there's a lot of prep work that goes into being on Jeopardy too, though. Because
I think you could do it. I have confidence in you.
I appreciate that. Let's do it.
We'll work on it.
Let's see. I don't know what it takes, but let's get it started.
We're all about goals this year, so
That's right. Yeah, that's right. So
let's do it.
So that's kind of, so it's October. We're October 4-H, so kind of light in the office today with just Lan and I. So we are making it happen. It's one of those times a year where we have enrollment open for 4-H right now. So for anybody that's listening that's a volunteer or a 4-H'er or a 4-H family, now's the time. Get enrolled as soon as possible. We ask that people get that done ASAP just because then we know we can start planning, obviously, logistical needs for the year, but it also helps because you're covered then. The big push the past couple of years has been when you're enrolled, you are now covered by that liability risk insurance through 4-H. So if you're doing 4-H related events and something were to happen and you're not enrolled, you're not covered by that insurance. If you are enrolled, then we can engage with the risk and liability through campus and have some assistance at that point. So that's why it's really important, and it covers 4-H as well and Purdue. So because you have to cover and go through certain ABEs as a volunteer, adult behavioral expectations and trainings that we know that you're good to go. So now is the time. Get in sooner than later. Our county does a great job of getting enrolled, but it's usually like one of those soft openings where October through December it's really light, but then it really picks up at the beginning of the year, which is fine. It just helps us. And we've got a lot of planning this year anyway with the new office because we don't know. We're going to be overhauling basically every work process and procedure that we have. So 4-H is going to be one of those that there's going to be a lot of good growing pains that we'll have to figure out because we're going to be in that new space. So what we traditionally have done for decades, it's pretty much all going to be brand new whenever it comes to the hands-on stuff. So the sooner that we can get those families and those volunteers enrolled, the better we can start planning, okay, what does that new process look like for us? So with that said, too, as we make that transition, I ask for patience from our clientele, I guess we could say, because it's going to be a lot of exciting things. It's just going to be a lot of, okay, let's figure this out and see what's going to work best for the office.
Patience and grace. That's what the next year will be.
That's right. Yeah, and if you've not been by the new building, they're moving along.
They are. It had been a couple days for me, and I went by today, and I was like, wow.
Yeah, it's always funny when we see, people out in the community, and they're like, I haven't driven by the fairgrounds. Where did that building come from? Like, I haven't. And it's went up in the past 2 months, and they are. I think so. I know the floor's not poured in the main area, but they're working on all of the utility stuff at this point. So working on the electrical. I know they were trenching lines for that yesterday and the day before. So they've got HVAC in there. So they're basically waiting to pour the main floor until they have basically everything else done, because then it can just set and cure for the time, and then they don't have to worry about going in and marring up the floor after the fact. So it's getting there. By the
end of the year, right?
Yeah, so the last time I heard the date, I guess, if we can kind of throw it onto the ethos, is around Christmas week is when they're thinking it'll be done and ready to kind of go, and we have move in around that point of the first of the year. So it's that's what it was, but obviously timelines shift, so it could move up a little bit or it could be a little bit later. We're trying to be fluid. We are going through our office, and 5S'ing the office, I guess, is an industry statement where I was a project manager prior to this, and so have given people in the office goals of going through all of the waste by a certain point, because as any person that moves from office to office or from home to home, there's a lot of things that you have that you need to go through, and what do we need to keep, what do we need to keep. And so we're at that stage now where we're identifying what are our valuables that we need to keep and what are the things that we can part with. And
I'm sure you're finding some great treasures in the office.
Oh, we have found some super cool historical documents and maps and things that I hopefully will be able to get mounted. Some of our maps, because we actually have a blueprint of the whenever the track was originally built from 1960, which it's nothing too crazy. It's just an oval, and it was actually the track is actually named Greensburg Downs.
We did not know this,
right? I did not know that until I found that, and it's like at the top, and it's very much in like the way that it was just you could tell it's a period drawing because of the text that they use. But yeah, Greensburg Downs is the technical name of the grandstands area.
We need a name.
I know.
A sign.
I was like, how cool would that be?
Make it known. That's right.
So
very cool. Well, that's exciting news, though. That you guys are moving. It'll be a new office.
Yep, it'll be. It's gonna bring a lot of opportunities for us and for partnerships as well, because that building is going to be a resource to the community to be able to use with the space as far as educational purposes or meeting purposes. Corporate events can be held there, weddings could be held there. So it's going to be a really good investment that the community and the county is making for just growing and creating a different revenue cycle for the county. So it'll be good. I'm excited to see what it can do. I know that people are already calling the office and wanting to reserve it for in the year or two to go. So it's pretty neat.
It is. It's exciting to bring that to
It is, yes. So
you've got some other exciting things you're bringing to the community. Right?
We do, yes. So today, with it being such kind of a light day, we actually have a community partner that we've worked with before. So Versity is a partnership that we formed with in 2021, I believe. We had a blood drive, and it was per their standards was very successful. We had, I think, 16. I forget how many. 17 donors that came through. So. Okay. Which is really, really awesome. So they reached out and said, hey, we would love to come back to your community and hold another blood drive if possible. And I said, absolutely. Let's figure out some dates and times and when we can make that happen. So Carly, who's sitting here with us in studio, we kind of went back and forth over the past month trying to identify some of the logistics of dates, times, what that looks like, when we can have it, when we can where we can park their bus. So we have identified all of that stuff now. So we're looking at November 29th. So I have not put anything out on Facebook yet just because we have some other things going.
This is breaking news.
And I didn't want to get it lost in everything that else is going on because our annual meeting is this weekend. So we've been sharing that out a bit. So come Monday, if Carly's all right with it, we're going to start blasting that out. We're going to be getting flyers out into the community because you can set up and register, correct?
Yes.
Through a link. So then you can say, yep, I'm going to be out on that date. And I know there's some incentives with what we have going on, correct?
Yes, so for our donors on November 29th, we have a $25 e-gift card just as a thank you because we are following Thanksgiving and always around the holidays we see a decline in donor participation but always an increase in the need for blood with the increase of travel and everything else going on, all the different activities. So we just want to encourage people by giving them that gift card to hopefully help us maintain a safe blood supply as we are going into the holiday season. So donors can sign up to donate. Once they donate, if they've got a valid email on file, they will get an email with the gift card information, and then you get to select where that money goes to. So you could do Amazon or Ulta or a regular Visa gift card. It just depends on where you want that money to go. I've definitely used it for all kinds of different things when I've been able to be eligible for that. So it is a really nice perk along with saving 3 lives in the community. So
a donation is on average could save 3 lives. Is that what I'm understanding?
Yes. So when you donate, we typically will split your donation up into the 3 different components that you have in your blood. So platelets, red cells, and plasma. And then we will distribute that. And each component of your blood could impact a different person, or your single donation can go to one person depending on what that patient's need is.
There are several different types of blood. So, any of them in high demand right now?
Different blood types. So, I always like to say that we need every blood type. Every blood type is important because we never know what person is coming in and needs a specific blood type. But I will say if you are type O, especially O negative, we always need that. It's used in emergency situations. So any emergency where we do not have the time to test that patient's blood type, we're going to want to give them O negative just to make sure that we can stabilize them until we can give them the specific match that they need.
And O negative would be considered the universal or
yes. O negative is the universal blood type.
Okay. So that, because I know that, and I don't know if that phrase is, if Versity likes using that phrase as a, so, because that's one of those that we can provide. Because so if somebody, I guess maybe if people don't understand, and maybe we can't answer this question, why is blood typing important?
Blood typing is important because there are certain people who can receive certain blood types or can't receive certain blood types. And so in order to reduce the risk of a reaction during a transfusion and make sure that that transfusion has the best outcome in saving their life, we have to match that blood type specifically. And then Versity is really awesome because we have one of the number one testing labs in the country, and we also have a blood research institute. So outside of just the typical ABO blood types, we also are testing the different markers, antigens in your blood, so we can ensure that we have the best possible outcome when it comes to transfusion. So that is very important as well. And then for anybody who doesn't know their blood type, we do let you know what your blood type is. So if you're coming in and you don't know it, we'll let you know a couple of days after you donate, and then you will know, who you're going to help and what kind of people you can help with your blood donations in the future.
Yeah, and I think that knowing your blood type is really important, obviously, because if you do get into an emergency situation, if you're coherent, that's one of the things they may ask if there's something going on where you're losing blood, just because then they can expedite and get what the blood type that you need, so then you have a more apple-to-apple transfusion or ability to be saved, basically, because you can lose up to 40%, I believe, of your blood, and before it's fatal. 11 to 14% is whenever we start seeing some sort of reaction with dizziness, and so 40% of your blood is about 2 liters, I think. So, which is quite a lot, but we don't want to get to that point, obviously. So that's where we have the different blood on hand that can hopefully help save your life.
So if I have, but say I've never given blood before. Mm-hmm. Walk me through that process of how somebody donates blood.
Yeah, so they'll schedule an appointment for a blood drive near them. Once they show up to the blood drive, preparation is key. So before you arrive on site, you're going to want to eat a big meal, a healthy meal, and drink plenty of water so you are hydrated for your donation. We're going to need a photo ID. So this can be your driver's license, a passport. For students, they'll have a Skyward or information that they can load onto their computer to show. We just need to have picture, first and last name, and birth date to confirm that you are who you are. And then we will actually take you through a little screening process to make sure that you're safe to donate blood, because this is also very important when we're doing that. So I also say that screening process is actually really good for your personal health, because we are checking things like your heart rate, your blood pressure, your hemoglobin. So if there were anything to come up during that screening process, then that might flag as a concern, then we could say, hey, maybe you should talk to your doctor. This has actually saved lives before. And so we put you through that initial screening process. You'll get a little finger prick so we can test the hemoglobin levels. And then once you are good and safe to donate, you will be assigned a bed, and our amazing phlebotomist will walk you through the process and make you feel super comfortable. If you are scared of needles, they will literally cover your arm with a blanket or a towel or something so you don't even have to have eyes on it. I asked that the first time that I donated. And then after you finish your donation, you feel really good because you just saved 3 lives. And then we're going to give you a bunch of free snacks and drinks, whether that's juice or soda or water, and have you hang out with us for a little bit, and then you can go on your way. And then a couple days after your donation, like I said, we'll let you know your blood type if you don't know it. And we'll send you that e-gift card that we're going to have on the 29th. So
then for anybody that's listening as well, are there individuals that might want to donate that we know already shouldn't because of pre-existing conditions or treatments that they're undergoing at the current moment? Or
yeah, that's a great question. So I will say that if you are on the edge about whether or not you can or can't donate, I always just say show up to the blood drive and see, and our team will be able to answer all of your questions and help you to the best of their ability. But and this includes people who are anemic or have low iron levels. That fluctuates every single day. I know I have that issue personally, so some days I can go to a blood drive and not be eligible, and others I just need to make sure I prepare better and can show up the next time and pass the test. So I would say anybody who shouldn't donate, anybody under the age of 16, you are not able to donate. 16-year-olds need to have a consent form signed. Anybody 17 or older is eligible to donate at their free will. And then I would say anybody who has undergone any cancer treatments in the past year will also not be eligible to donate. But the typical myths that we hear all the time where I'm diabetic, I can't donate. That's a myth. You absolutely can donate if you're diabetic. There are certain medications that people think that if they're taking it, they can't donate. Even if your medication is listed on our medication deferral list that you can read prior to going in to donate, that doesn't always mean that you're going to be deferred from donating. It just depends on the details of that, which again, our team can help when you arrive on site. And then I would just say it's really just going in and seeing if you are eligible that day, because diabetics can donate, high, low blood pressure, you can donate, anything like that, anemic, you can donate. So it really just depends on how you present the day of.
I think that I'm glad that you said that, because and you probably do not know this, am type 1 and was diagnosed kind of late onset as an adult and donated multiple times through my adult life. And I don't know that I have since I've been diagnosed, just from I don't know if I can. I think I maybe have once, and I will say that I didn't have any issues, but I did know that for any other diabetics, it's always subjective. But, it was just a little different monitoring my blood sugar after, because you are, your blood level's a little bit lower, so your sugar, so that's one thing I think I do remember seeing it. But I've been a little more hesitant just because I'm like, I don't know if I'm technically supposed to, not because of my blood's bad, but doing more harm to myself. But I'm glad that is back on the table, I guess, is something that I could possibly do again. So
it is.
Yeah.
I think, too, it's important for people to understand blood is hard to come by. So keeping a stock of blood can be really challenging to make sure that we serve the community.
Yes. So we have about 60% of the U.S. population is now eligible to donate. In the last 2 years, I would say when I started Adversity 3 years ago, our donor eligibility all across the United States was 37%. So we have increased donor eligibility, but the participation from donors has actually decreased. So that's a concern, but a lot of that has to do with the lack of being able to educate a younger donor base because of the pandemic that we had 5 years ago. So we lost a lot of opportunity to educate people and get them excited about donating when they were eligible. And then on top of that, we also have an aging donor base. So there are a lot of people who we want to find, first-time donors, we want them to come in. Blood is definitely hard to come by. You can't manufacture it. It has to come from volunteer donors. We can't pay anybody to come out and donate. We can't make it in a lab. So it has to come from real people to save people. And just to put it into perspective, every 2 seconds in the U.S., somebody needs blood. Same for 7 out of every 10 people need blood in their lifetime. So put 10 people in a room, 7 of them are going to need blood by the time that their life is over, which is really concerning, especially if we were to have a mass transfusion protocol or a natural disaster or a big emergency that could wipe out an entire blood supply. And so I always try to encourage people to donate before an emergency, before they hear about the urgent need for blood, before they hear about an emergency need, because if you're waiting to donate, when there's an emergency, it's probably going to be too late. So, yes, it's really hard to come by, but we're really trying to just educate more people in the community, the younger donors that are going to be eligible when they turn 16. It's really important for everybody who hasn't donated to at least attempt once, because if we just saw 1% of the population donate once a year, then we would see those shortages decrease significantly.
That's a lot of blood. I mean,
Yeah.
1% of population, that's a lot of blood.
Yep.
Yes.
So as far as, so one of the things I know that whenever Carly and I met a week ago now, it was just the partnerships with Versity. And that is very simple. It's something that she reached out to me and said, hey, we would love to come back. And, you know, Carly, I'm sure behind the scenes does, when I say does, she has done all of the logistical planning, sends me the information, and I just basically said, here's the date that I would like to do. She came to the office, we identified where the bus is going to sit, and that was basically it. But we did have a really great conversation about how to expand her just communication in the community to organizations of, you know, this is a free thing to you as an organization to have them come and set up. So whether you're in industry and manufacturing and you'd like to maybe offer it to your worker base, or your school and you have those, you know, 17, 18-year-olds that are optioned. Because I know whenever I was in high school, that was one of those things that we had blood drives once, twice a year for those that were able to. So if you're somebody that's interested in this just from a functional standpoint of hosting a blood drive, I would highly encourage it, because you know, you may have a contained audience that would love to do it, but maybe just doesn't have the ability outside of work or family life, whatever it is. And this would give them that opportunity and also impact that shortage that we could see. So that's something that, you know, how would people be able to contact you? What would be the easiest way for you?
Yeah, so, well, the number one reason why people don't donate is because it's not convenient. So that's why we're here and why we run mobile blood drives. So I would say, obviously, my contact information can be shared out, but the easiest way to host a blood drive is to submit a host a blood drive request on our website, versity.org. So it's spelled Versiti, just like university or diversity or anything like that. And so you can just click ways to donate once you open our website and host a blood drive request. So you'll fill that out and then be connected with the right representative in your area, because Versity does cover all parts of the state of Indiana. So we will be able to connect you with the right person, whether that be me or one of my team members, to set you up with a blood drive. And like Christopher said, we make it really easy for you. We know that we are taking up some of your time asking you to host a blood drive, but we're making it really easy for your employees or the members of your church congregation or your community. We're making it really easy for those people to step up and save lives and not have to contribute any kind of money or anything like that. So super, super easy to get something set up, and we want it to be efficient for you all. We know everybody's so busy all the time, so we just appreciate organizations providing the space and the network of people to help us maintain a safe blood supply, because just as Versity, Indiana, we need to see about 520 donors every single day. So just to meet the patient need in Indiana. So just think about that in a broader spectrum over in the United States. That's a lot of blood. That's a lot of people that we need to help other people.
Do you, Versity is one company, like the Red Cross will do blood donations. Are you contracted with certain hospitals, or is it just whoever has the blood can provide? How does that work?
Yeah, so we do have lots of hospital contracts. The Red Cross is also great for giving back to the community. The difference between us is that we are a nonprofit organization and we are a local blood center. So we are primarily focused on blood and transfusion medicine and improving patient outcomes through that transfusion medicine. So a little less focus on the disaster relief portion. But yes, as Versity, so we actually are local blood provider for 5 states. So we used to be Indiana Blood Center, and we combined with other local blood centers in the Midwest to become Versity. So each state that we reside in, we are still the local blood provider for that state. So for Versity Blood Center of Indiana, we have the opportunity to serve a little over 90 hospitals in the state. And the way that blood is distributed is based off patient need and the levels of each hospital. So we might serve a hospital that has a very large and active trauma center. They're probably going to use a majority of or more blood products than like maybe a small local hospital would.
All right, very cool. The 29th, again, is when that's going to be.
Correct.
Are we going to say where the bus is going to be yet or no?
Yeah, so the bus is going to be parked at the extension office. So we have it. That was one of the checkmark planning pieces that we need to identify, because there are certain things that whenever that mobile unit comes on site that Carly asked, here are some of the things that we would need access to just for our staff. So like access to restrooms and that sort of thing. So when we looked at the parking lot, it is going to be set up on the south side of the front of our office. That's going to be, so it's you won't miss it. It's going to be set up where it is perpendicular to our office, where the access to the bus is going to be best for individuals that are parking can just walk right to the bus. So it's not going to be kind of obscured in any way. So
you literally can't miss it. It's a bright pink bus. So you can't miss it. Yes.
So with that being said too, so let's say that on the 29th, I'm somebody that's just out checking out the new building and how amazing it looks, and I see the bus and I have not pre-registered, and I think, I want to donate. Is that something that somebody can just kind of walk in status?
Yes, so you can walk in and donate without an appointment. We love to see appointments ahead of time, just so we can make sure that we have enough staff members to accommodate everybody that wants to help us save lives. We want to make sure that we can see everybody who wants to donate. But yes, walk-ins are welcome, and for that e-gift card as well, we get your information during that pre-screening process I mentioned. So we'll gather your email. That's going to be best to send you that e-gift card too. So even without an appointment, you're going to receive our promotions, and it's always, we welcome everybody who wants to donate. So
Can you register for 4-H that day if you come out?
I don't know that's the Saturday.
Oh, that's a Saturday.
I think, not that we can't work on Saturdays, but I think everybody will be.
That's Thanksgiving weekend, right?
Right.
Yes.
So
your hemoglobin should be up because you should have eaten well.
Yes. So after your big Thanksgiving meal with your family, bring the whole family out to save lives together.
So, but that's why we need to get the pre-registration going, just so then we know and people can kind of start thinking about what that looks like, how to plan that into the day. That's something that you'll see on our Facebook page. We're going to get some print material as well and get it out so we can start posting it around, so then we can try and capture some of that audience that will be able to support thy neighbor and make sure that we have enough blood product is available. What'd you say, 520 a day?
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty intense.
And that's volunteer blood donors.
And how often can you donate?
You can donate every 56 days, so that's up to 6 times a year for whole blood donors. We also have, for most of our mobile blood drives, we have a double red cell donation option. So you'll actually be giving less blood volume for anybody who hears that double and freaks out a little bit. So we actually take less blood volume from you. We're just taking your red cells, so that's really going to be helpful in emergency situations. And that, since we're taking more red cells from you, then you are actually only eligible every 112 days, which is 4 times a year. And those are the 2 eligibility requirements. If you were to go to one of our centers and donate platelets, then you can donate every 2 weeks, which is amazing. And that can alternate between platelets and whole blood, or another procedure that you wanted to do. And then plasma as well. That has a 4-week window.
All right. Lots of opportunity.
Yeah.
No reasons to not do it.
Yeah, I know, and that's whenever they reached out and asked if we could host another one, I was like, absolutely. It's low impact on us, honestly. we looked at some different dates, tried to cross-reference what we had going on, and we were, tried to make sure that the grounds were going to be available so it wasn't too crazy as well. We talked about doing one on this weekend, and Versity has a huge data bank of wins and what's good, pros, cons, and they see that some of those certain events they don't see as good of an outcome. So that's why we kind of steered away from it, because we do have our annual meeting and an enrollment event this weekend that's running parallel with the trick or treat in the park at the same time. So there's going to be a lot of activity. And for me, somebody that isn't in the industry, I was like, oh, well, there's a large group of people. And the more that Carly and I talked, she was like, that doesn't equate to donation though, because they're preoccupied with something else. So it's more of a hassle to donate at that point, where they need that pre-registration, the understanding of this is what I am doing this day, not just gonna. So I've learned a lot. I've learned a lot with talking with Carly. She's obviously very educated on the topic here. So yeah, I encourage, beyond just the donation and the donor portion of it, to those companies, to those people that have the ability to maybe host or reach out and ask about those questions, to think about it very seriously, because it's easy. I mean, it's something that I was fortunate enough that we'd hosted one before and Carly reached out, but that doesn't mean you can't be proactive to start that by registering or getting online and doing that kind of host a blood drive piece. So like I said, they make it super user friendly. It's a plug and play situation where, like I said, she's been in constant contact with, here's this is what we're doing, and kind of holds your hand as you walk through, and trying to make it as successful as possible. So
very good. Well, let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll go over the details of all of it again, and we're going to get donors out there on Tree Country 1330. Tree Country 1330 WTRE, back with Christopher Fogel from the Purdue Extension, talking about the upcoming blood drive.
Yep. So we're laying the groundwork for a successful event. We just discussed we already have 3 individuals that are signed up. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, and we talked in it. We need 12, right?
13. So
I'm
close.
sorry.
Right on the money.
I have failed you. So already a little over around a quarter of the way there. So hopefully we can boost those numbers and get well beyond that. That would be good. So that was, we were just talking. So there's actually a way, and you said it was versity.com/zip.
So it will be donateblood.versity.org. So Versity, again, is VERSITI. Once you go there, you can actually search by zip code. If you can't find our flyers around the community or reach out to somebody to get the schedule, that's where you will find it. You just search a zip code that's near you and the date, and this applies for this blood drive along with our donor centers and other mobile blood drives. So if you're not in the area on this date, maybe there's another date that you can look up if you're going to be in a specific area, and we will have blood drive schedules that'll pop up for you on that website.
So the other thing, I know we talked about the e-gift card. So Carly and I kind of connected. We're both IU alums. So
I'll stay on this side of the board. But you work for Purdue.
I do. You know, whenever they asked if that would be a conflict of interest, I said, you know what, as long as you pay me, boiler up. So, but that was one of those things that we also have an incentive piece that's running alongside with this as well, where after donation, you can receive certain information, right? And receive a shirt, correct?
Yes. So this is our second annual We Give Blood Drive. We have a partnership with Abbott Industries and Big Ten. And so Abbott is providing a t-shirt for our donors. The only thing that you need to do is you'll be given a postcard after your donation. You will go to the website that is listed on that postcard, and it'll give you steps for how to redeem a t-shirt. So the first thing you're going to do is vote for your favorite Big Ten school, which I'm hoping everybody's going to vote for IU here. And so you'll vote for your favorite Big Ten school, and then that vote will actually go to an overall score leaderboard of the votes and donations for this Big Ten challenge. And at the Big Ten championship football game in December, they will actually announce the winner. So whichever Big Ten school had the most donations towards that specific school will win $1 million towards student and community health.
Oh, wow.
So not only are you supporting not only are you getting a t-shirt, you're supporting your favorite university, and hopefully being able to earn them some money to support the campus and what the students are going to be able to do for the future. But I actually donated a few weeks ago and submitted my donation, voted for IU, go Hoosiers, and I got my vintage home field shirt from Abbott, and it says Hoosiers Give Blood. It's super cute design. You can actually go to big10.org/Abbott and look at the leaderboard. So I think IU and Purdue are slowly moving down the leaderboard. We want to boost them up a little bit to see where we can end up in our impact. I mean, every school, the only way you can vote for them is by donating blood. So you can just see how many people are saving lives for this challenge. So I think that's another perk to donating. Cool. Yes.
So much going on.
Yeah, and that's that honestly, whenever we were cross-referencing dates, that was one of the main driving reasons that we picked this date range, because there's a couple dates around there, because of the incentives that were a part of it. And I said, you are in the land of IU athletics and Purdue athletics, so that's right. I think would be a good incentive as well, where, you know, it's no money out of your pocket. It's a simple donation to be able to submit and to get your shirt. That I feel like you showed me the designs, and it's a cool design. I think it's something that, you know, I would certainly wear it. So it's, you know, I'm excited to see where our donation is this time around. So
Monday, link and all of that kind of stuff will start coming out?
Yep. So we will start getting stuff pushed out. I know I should have probably had it pushed out already, but like I said,
it's not November yet.
No, not yet. But I know that the sooner that we can get it pushed out, obviously, the more likelihood that we'll gain some more of those individuals. But we'll do a media blitz, obviously, come Monday. We were wanting to get through the annual meeting and everything else that's going on Saturday first, just because that's where our focus is. And being low staff right now, it's you know, we can only be spread so thin on certain topics. So that's something that we're gonna work towards. We're gonna make sure that it is a success, and you know, Carly and I, and we could even, as we kind of chat back and forth here with WTRE, we can kind of provide updates and say here's where we are and continue to make it a success that we want it to be. So
I love it. We're behind you all the way. We're
it
excited
is.
for it.
It's crazy. It's, whenever we talk about blood transfusions, to think about historically where it started with transfusions initially were animal to animal, and then the first transfusion with humans was from a calf, and then they used to do human to human just direct. They would
direct
basically,
line,
they would just run a tube from one person to the other, and it wasn't succeeding. And then they found, I think, is a sodium citrate or citrate that they would put in for anticoagulation, and then they did the typing, and then here we are now where we know, and as Carly said, if you weren't listening earlier, all the different variables that are being tested to ensure the transfusion is a success, that we are not seeing those negative effects or that we're seeing any kind of rejection on the recipient side. So it's just interesting. Science in general is just crazy. So
blood has always fascinated me. Blood and veins, arteries, just the whole system. Love it.
Yeah. So that's one of those things as I was coming out, I was thinking about too, whenever you donate, because I've had people ask this before in my previous role and ironically once in this job. When you're giving blood, they're accessing veins. They're not accessing arteries.
Yes.
Arteries are under pressure, so if you were to access that, we would see stuff that we don't want to see, where your veins are passive, so you are getting that donation on the kind of the beat of the heart, so it's passively coming out at that point. So yeah, when you're donating, that's why the blood's a little bit darker than what it would be if it was coming out of an artery. So that's one of those things that, again, if you don't know, you don't know. But yeah, it's not. If you were to access an artery, it would just kind of like spurt out everywhere.
It would not be good. We don't want to do that.
We do not want to do that.
No.
So.
And it is extremely, extremely safe to donate blood. It's actually good for your body, so you can recreate new blood cells. And like as soon as you start donating blood, your body is already regenerating those new blood cells for you. So it's extremely safe. I always say it's like an oil change for your body. And so that's always something to think about. And then with your blood cells while you're donating already working really, really hard to make new blood cells for you, you actually burn 650 calories, which is a whole pound that you lose. So it's kind of like when I go and donate, I'm like, okay, I get to skip the gym today. So
it's a two for one. You're helping someone and helping yourself.
Exactly. Yeah. So I always encourage people to bring a friend. Whenever I go and donate, I actually have one friend, and we are on the same eligibility schedule. I always bring her, and we donate together at the same time, side by side, and we race to see who can fill the bag first. Obviously, you have no control over that except for hydrating. So it's really just a test to see, okay, which one of us drank more water, which one of us is more hydrated today. And so that's always a fun little game to play too when I go and donate. And when anybody goes and donates, I always encourage you to bring a friend.
Very good.
Yeah, and I think it's just to kind of, you touched on this earlier, if you are going to donate, just ensure that you have had a good meal and that you are well hydrated, that you are, when you come in, that you're not, you're
pumped up.
Yeah, that's something that we want to see. We want to see that. So that's a safety mechanism for yourself to make sure that you're not one of those that get a hangout after the fact. So
yes. Exactly.
Which that is one piece that after you donate, there is a period that you do kind of hang out to ensure safety that before released, correct?
Yes.
Your snack, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So if there was a chance of reaction, which is a lot lower than a lot of people think it is, so the primary, like the window for risk of reaction is usually 15-20 minutes after you donate. So we just really recommend that you hang out with us so our professionals can make sure that you have the care that you need in the event of a reaction. But again, reactions are very rare. A lot of people think, oh, I'm donating, I'm going to pass out. It's really, really rare. I thought the same thing before I started donating blood. And the first time I did it, of course, I was really nervous, like most people are. But then after that, I felt fantastic. I felt even better because I knew that I just saved 3 local lives. And then actually a couple of days later, I was able to receive an email that told me which hospital my blood was going to.
Oh, how fun is that?
Yeah, that's cool.
Very cool.
Yeah, so you'll get a little email that says your blood is on its way to save a life, which I think that's just even more of a powerful feeling that I get.
It's very personal.
Yes.
You know where it's going.
Yeah.
All right, the 29th. We'll be looking forward to all the details as they come out.
And this is terrible. What was our start time? You said the first 3 slots are already taken.
Yes, so we are starting at 10 a.m. and the blood drive will wrap up at 2 p.m. So we've got plenty of appointment slots open. I think now we have 21 appointment slots left. Again, our goal is 13. Those are 13 patient promises. So I mentioned earlier that we have partner hospitals, and so when we do set up our blood drives, we provide them with a goal, which are our patient promises that we share with our hospitals. So whenever you host a blood drive or you schedule an appointment, that is a patient promise that you are promising that I'm going to save this patient life that needs it. So highly encourage you to work, if you're hosting a blood drive, to work to fill that schedule to meet your patient promises. Or if you schedule an appointment and you can't make it, please cancel your appointment, call us, reschedule, so we can ensure that we have somebody else to fill your space so we can save every single life that we promise to save.
All right, we'll get there. 13, right?
That's right. We will. Yep. I told her we would make it. We'll make it happen. So we'll get that media blast going, and we'll work with you guys and some other abilities.
We'll put some pressure out there to get people to do it.
Yeah, it's very low impact. It's something that, like I said, I've donated personally multiple times, and it's just a little bit of time out of the day, and you don't realize it. And
very easy.
The intrinsic value of knowing that you've saved multiple lives. I mean, it's something that it's a need. It's a huge need. So
personally, a low impact, but overall in the community, that is a massive, massive impact. You could literally be giving somebody their life back.
Absolutely. It's very important.
Yep.
Christopher, do you have a fun fact of the day for us?
The fun fact of the day.
Oh. We challenged him today.
Boy, so one of the things that as we kind of know, I'm a nerd, so it's not about blood transfusions, but we are in the season of the flu, so I know vaccines, no matter what side you personally think that is, where you stand on that, but it's interesting to think about whenever we first developed germ theory. It happened in England at what was called the Broad Street Pump. So there was a epidemiologist, he's the father of epidemiology, by the name of John Snow, who basically so the Broad Street Pump was a pump in England. So at that time, we didn't have the infrastructure that we have now as far as utilities go. So there were different squares or corners where there would be water pumps, and there'd be cisterns, and that's where people would get water. Well, the Broad Street Pump was famous in England because it was the best tasting and clearest water, because obviously we didn't have treatment. So water oftentimes was very dirty or turbid looking. So we had people that would travel to this pump because it was the best. Well, there ended up becoming what was called, there's an infection called cholera, and it affects the intestines. So basically one of the treatments for cholera is to drink clean water, because then you flush it out of your intestine, which is where it's harbored. But people kept going back to the Broad Street Pump to get clean water because it was clear, and they just kept reinfecting, so there was a large death from it. Oh. And he said something has to be done, because at that point in time, germ theory didn't exist. The church still ran a lot of science, in quotes, and they believed in what was called the miasma theory. And miasma theory basically just equates to where they thought organic matter that was decaying emitted these things into the air, and if you breathed the bad air, that's how you got sick. Because again, we didn't have the same infrastructure as far as trash companies, so people would just dump their waste into the streets. Then they would have people come along and at times take the waste and at times not. So then denser populated areas had a higher increase of infection. Yeah. So what John Snow did at this point is he said something is up, because he started to see the trend of people that drank from Broad Street were all getting sick. So he actually created one of the first kind of infection maps, for lack of better terms, to show and plotted everybody that lived around Broad Street got sick, and there were 2 outliers, and one was a wealthy aristocrat that lived miles away that grew up around Broad Street, who would send her servants to get water from that, and it would take it out, and that helped kind of show this was it. And they still didn't believe him, and he went and physically took the handle from the pump. And once he did that, within a week or two, all of the cholera cases pretty much resolved. And that was a huge piece, in part with, I just lost his name, to not sanitize food, pasteurize, Louis Pasteur, with his stuff with retort flasks and different things. We go into that later. It helped prove germ theory, that there was something more. We didn't know what it was, but we knew there was something in that we would ingest that would cause illness, basically. So
look at you.
That's kind of your
He's our smarty pants.
Health story of the day. I know I'm a nerd, but I don't know, it's just one of those interesting things to think about now, how at that point, it was just this novel idea of like, no, they're drinking this clear water, and people just assumed that it was healthy, and no, it was something that, and they actually, I don't know how at that time they were able to show that a family that lived close to the well were the initial patients, and they were the ones that infected the well, and so there we go.
Think how the world changed though because of that. Like,
yeah, and
massively.
you can, and there are all kinds of books. I think it's called The Ghost Map. It's actually a really good book on Jon Snow, and because he was a dentist by trade, he's actually the father of anesthesia, where he practiced on himself. So he would put little bits of chloroform on a rag, look at his watch, cover his mouth, pass out, then wake up, and would mark like, okay, I was out for this long, because he knew that doing dentist work was painful to his patients. So he would then
experiment.
So he would experiment on himself. So then he'd say, okay, I know if I did this, like a capful, I was out for 10 minutes, and it'll take this long to extract a tooth. So then he started figuring out how to dose
risky
anesthesia.
business.
Yeah. So he kind of started that idea as well. So just thinking about that, I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, it was a Wild West in the day.
It was something.
So
Get your flu shots though.
Yeah.
That's the point.
Yeah, flu vaccines,
flu.
they're out.
Yeah.
It's going right now. Now's the prime time to do it. That's one of those things that, they are effective. We do see that. So, and I'm a believer in the flu vaccine. That's my first foray into work world, was an infection prevention, and so I think it's something that, we need that herd immunity from it. So
that's right. Boo to the Flu is Friday at the health department. Drive through 9 to 6, I think. So.
Awesome.
Perfect timing for it all.
Beautiful.
Guys, thanks for being in today.
Yeah.
The 29th will be the blood drive. We'll get information next week on how to get signed up, right?
Yep, November 29th.
November, that's right. We're not quite to the end of October.
Nope.
Not quite. All right, thanks. It's 11:59 on Tree Country 1330.